The Haunted House, Parts 5 and 6. Hmm. The tiny bathroom was tearing apart, Mr. Obi choking at the door under the spirit's suffocating grip, and Chidi screaming as Ada was dragged halfway out the shattered window into the bottomless black fog. The family reached their absolute breaking point. I won't let you take her. Chidi roared, her hands burning from the supernatural frost, biting into her skin. With a burst of strength, she dug her heels into the floorboards and pulled Ada back with everything she had. But it was not over yet. At that same moment, Mrs. Obi lunged towards the door, ignoring the terrifying rotting hand protruding through the wooden door. She looked around the bathroom, and then her eyes fall on a bottle of anointing oil that she herself had kept in the bathroom days ago for the family to use anytime they want to bathe. Remembering all that, she quickly grabbed the bottle of the anointing oil and throwing it directly onto the spirit gripping arm. A loud cry of pain echoed through the flat, and the entity violently recoiled, releasing Mr. Obi, who collapsed to the floor, gasping for air. Free from the spirit pressure, Mr. Obi slowly regained his strength. As soon as he fully regained his strength, he scrambled toward the window while Mrs. Obi followed behind, reaching the window Chidi and her parents throwing their weight around Ada again. Together, the three of them pulled Ada completely back inside the house. Mr. Obi quickly slammed a heavy plastic storage bin against the broken window to block the howling wind from coming in. They were all bruised, bleeding, and terrified, but they were still together. We don't have much time. Mr. Obi wheezed, holding his chest in pain. Chidi is right. The spirit power is the broken rattle. We have to destroy it where the pact was made in the center of the living room. They burst out of the bathroom, rushing back into the creepy nightmare version of their living room. The entity was already waiting. It had fully materialized itself now. A towering skeletal phantom of shadow and rage surrounded by the weeping floating spirits of its past victims. The air was so cold that the family breath came out in thick white clouds and a sharp agonizing pressure passing through their hearts. Give me the child. The entity voice boomed, vibrating through their bones. Hearing this, Ada started crying in fear. Mrs. Obi stepped forward. No, the child is not yours. You can't have her. She threw the cracked pieces of the vintage plastic rattle onto the floor. Chidi now, Mr. Obi yelled. Chidi lunged forward with her father, heavy iron toolbox, smashing it down onto the glowing bloody pieces of the rattle. The moment the iron struck the rattle, a shockwave of pure agony rippled through the room. The spirit roared in fury, and the invisible chains around Ada's ankles tightened, pulling her to her knees as blood began to trickle from her nose. Mrs. Obi screamed in fear, throwing her body over Ada to protect her from the falling debris as the ceiling began to collapse. We have to break it completely. Mr. Obi shouted, his hands trembling, as he joined Chidi, both of them gripping the heavy iron toolbox together. The physical pain was excruciating. The spirit dark energy was burning their arms, trying to force them to let go. Tears poured down Chidi's face from the sheer exhaustion and terror. But when she looked back at her little sister, Ada, and immediately she found a hidden strength. You took this house, but you will not take my sister, Chidi screamed. With a final desperate cry of unity, Mr. Obi and Chidi brought the iron box down one last time with all their might. Crack! The vintage rattle shattered into absolute dust. A deafening otherworldly shriek rent the air as the skeletal entity began to dissolve. The dark swirling fog pulled violently backward into the kitchen, evaporating into nothingness. The weeping faces on the walls faded away, replaced once again by the simple dusty wallpaper of the Lagos flat. Suddenly, the front door burst open on its own. The duplicate rooms were gone. Looking out, they saw the normal, bright hallway of the apartment building, and the warm, familiar sounds of Lagos rushed back in. The morning sun began to peek through the windows, bathing the ruined flat in pure golden light. The family collapsed into a single massive hug on the floor, weeping tears of pure exhaustion, relief, and love. They were battered, covered in scratches, and deeply shaken by the terror they had endured. But they had survived. They had fought the darkest, ancient evil together, and their love for one another had given them the victory. A few days later, a moving truck was parked outside the building. Mr. and Mrs. Obi decided no amount of cheap rent was worth their lives. They were moving to a brighter and peaceful suburb on the outskirts of the city. As they loaded the last box into the truck, Chidi walked up to Ada, who was looking back at the apartment building one last time. Ada no longer looked terrified. She looked wiser. "Are you okay, Ada?" Chidi asked gently. Ada nodded smiling towards child. "I learned my lesson, sister. Some things left behind are meant to be forgotten. We don't need old things to fill our lives. We just need each other." Chidi smiled, placing an arm around her little sister's shoulder. "It's all over now." Together, Mr. Obi and his family walked away from the haunted house, stepping forward into a bright, safe, and victorious future without fear, but with a hidden lesson placed deep in their hearts. The end.